Over these years of rapid growth in human population, pressure from livestock grazing, farming, logging, hunting has gradually created an ecologically compromised picture across the general landscape of the Mambila Plateau. The establishment of the Nigerian Montane Forest Project has brought protection and a model to the mountain communities. The Nigerian Montane Forest Project has a laid-out plan for the restoration of the Ngel Nyaki forest through regeneration of the indigenous species. Central to the realization of this effort is Dr. Hazel Chapman, Director, Nigerian Montane Forest Project. Working in collaboration with the government of Taraba State in Nigeria, the University of Canterbury in New Zealand, Gombe State University, Nigeria, Chester Zoo, and Mohammed bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund, Nexen Incorporated, and AP Leventis Ornithological Research Institute JOS, with the aim of rejuvenating the natural vibrancy of a healthy ecosystem in the Ngel Nyaki forest chain. I asked Dr. Hazel Chapman, how did it all started?
Well, it really all began because in the 1970s my father was a forest officer on Mambila, and so as a family we lived in Gembu and then in Ngoroji, and with my father in the school holidays I trekked all around Mambila, and one of the places that we came to was Ngel Nyaki forest where Dad was working. Then in 2000 I helped my father write a book about his work, because before that he'd only written reports on what he'd done. So with help from the WWF and DFID, we published a book on the forests of Taraba and Adamawa State. Having done that, I got really interested and wanted to come back and see what the forests were like nearly 30 years later. So with a group of people from my university in Canterbury in New Zealand, and also a team from comprising NCF and Nigerian National Parks, we did a 50-day trek around the forests of Taraba State, up in the mountains of Gashka-Gumti National Park, down again, and eventually to Ngel Nyaki. And I thought then that Ngel Nyaki would be a great place to do research because I'm a biologist.
In the year 2004, Dr. Hazel and a few assistants took up a tent residence in the forest. Misa Zubairu, the project coordinator, Nigeria Montane Forest Project, also remembers.
In the year of 2004, the director, Dr. Hazel Chapman, in wadi camping ha ulkam site ha rorol en woni jotaro haqiqa wakkati min warano haɗo wala ko woni haɗo ko leggel a yiyata ko is overgrazing, amma jotelde min waɗi waya, min waɗi fencing babal me wodi leɗɗe olora kanjum woni EMSA.
In spite of the establishment of the project on the area, which was gazetted Decades ago, as a nature reserve, encroachment continued, forcing the project to take several measures. The Montane Project erected this barbed wire fencing as a matter of necessity. This is because of the ever-increasing encroachment by cattle rearers in search of grazing land. It is our hope that eventually traditions will come to change and cattle rearers in this part of the world will eventually adapt to cattle quality rather than cattle quantity, because as the case is now, cattle quantity, which is the tradition, has now led to an ever-increasing demand for grazing land, and sanctums of nature such as this are put under threat. Within few years of seclusion for the protected area, the difference is visible. To properly enforce protection, the project, in collaboration with the Taraba State Government, employed patrolmen. Many of these men were retired rangers and game guards. They enforced the law against grazing, farming, logging, and hunting within the protected area. On her return from a recent trip, the patrol gave Dr. Hazel a surprise welcome.
Just come directly to the camp so that we will greet you. We also hear how was your movement.
Oh, thank you. When I went to Jalingo, everything went well. Yes. Yes.
In her thanks to the men, she disclosed a good news.
Got your funding for the next year.
Uniforms, umbrellas, boots, raincoats, global positioning system sets and radios were provided to the patrolmen. Today, the Nigerian Montane Forest Project base at Ngel Nyaki has become a busy hub for international ecological research.